Hey, good morning. My name is Jared. I host a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. Now, I'm a socialist, and just so you all know, that just means I want equality for all, and that includes not only for my LGBTQIA plus friends, the LGBTQA, that are my friends, but that also means people don't experience a two-tiered justice system, right? The one we're living in right now that refuses to punish the rich, but certainly has absolutely no problem punishing poor people with death, right? And I'm making this video because I'm starting to get an influx of Trump voters that are saying, hey man, I know I've watched a lot of your content and you have not attacked Trump voters. And I said, there's a reason. And they'll ask, why don't you make content trying to attack Trump voters? And I said, they're not the target. You're the victim. And to which they say, I'm starting to come around on that. I'm starting to come around on the idea that I was lied to. Yeah. And then, of course, inevitably, they'll try to poke at me about who I voted for, about who I vote for. But I voted for Democratic candidates my entire life, with the exception, I did vote for George Bush II over John Kerry. Again, because of sensationalist media that made me believe John Kerry lied about his time on active duty. I'm just full disclosure. Otherwise, I've always voted Democrat because I like their plans better. I like what they plan to do for the economy and for the country. And I just want to point this out, okay? I went to school to be an air traffic controller and a pilot, okay? 23 years ago. And George Bush became president. The FAA went on a hiring freeze. Okay, so this means no air traffic controllers, no pilots. The job market got very tough. I ended up in the Marine Corps, infantry, within the year of the economy crashing. I was working 2+ jobs. It was impossible to keep up on bills, even with 2 people working 2 jobs. So that relationship ended, and I joined the Marine Corps. That's a true fucking story. Okay? Now, here we are, 23 years later. Donald Trump's back in office. Still waiting on the results of Executive Order 13848. That shit should come out next week. Okay? And so I'm making this video to my audience to say there are people that voted for Donald Trump that are completely off his shit. That are completely done with him. And you have to understand that I've been saying most adults lack empathy. And the path to empathy is you feeling it yourself, you becoming the victim. And what is happening? People are becoming the victim. And keep in mind, cuts to Medicaid, Social Security, SNAP, those haven't happened yet. They're being threatened. We're being threatened with them. And people are already being like, oh shit, I voted for him. I got to go do something else in my life. And this message is to the Democrats. Because I'm going to build the American Socialist Party right here, Indianapolis, Indiana. Okay? Not a grift. There's only 600 seats of government. I believe firmly there are 600 people in the United States that would be best serving in a government role. Okay? And I'm willing to bet that there are 600 Americans that not only are willing to be a political candidate, but you would be the first group of socialist candidates in the United States, and the founder of the Socialist Party is me. Me. My name is Jared Malat. I live in Indianapolis, Indiana. I am an Eagle Scout. I'm not only an Eagle Scout, I'm Order of the Arrow, which 1 out of every 100 Eagle Scouts gets. I was in the Marine Corps infantry. 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines Weapons Company, the most combat deployed unit in Marine Corps history. Sir or ma'am, I have a college degree. I'm going to go back and get a degree in political science to put a little oomph behind policy that I write. But ultimately, I just want equality for all, the removal of this two-tier justice system. I want universal education, income, housing, and healthcare. That's what I want. And I want people to be so proficient at their jobs as a result of your education that you could strike out and start your own business. That's what socialism is. I just broke it down for you. I don't want you to go to the hospital and rack up a bunch of debt and die broke. I don't want you to have to get a bunch of student loans and have to spend your hard-earned money paying off your student loans. I don't want you to have to pay the rising costs of living, right? One of the things I think about all the time is, God, what is rent now, right? And I talk to people on the phone all day that are paying $1,200 to $2,000 a month in rent. I think we need either no rent or reduced rent programs where we encourage these landlords, lower your rent or the government will go back to building housing. And oh, by the way, the government used to build housing. Okay? And I know people are like, government housing. No, like, I lived in a house the government built in Indianapolis. And it was in the 50s. It was a war thing. And I get it. A lot of people are like, I don't know about that. And it's like, wouldn't you rather live in free government housing, like a house, a brick house that the government built with a basement, right? Than some shitty apartment that they try to charge you 4 times what they should be for it? Right. So I want everyone to have access to housing, especially the homeless. Something to keep in mind. I look this up pretty often. There are millions and millions of homes and empty businesses. And there's like less than 1 million homeless people in the United States. There, I solved your homelessness problem. If it's empty and it's not in a residential neighborhood where it's like for sale by owner, the government should go in, pay to use it, put people up in it. What the fuck are we talking about? See, the thing about it is you've been told your whole life this is the way it is. Left versus right. Left wins most of the time and doesn't do shit. Right wins sometimes and fucks everything up. It doesn't have to be that way anymore. I think that there are programs in the United States should be made permanent programs. I think, for example, if you pay into Social Security, that's a permanent program that can never be touched. I think that if you are on Medicaid, for example, that cuts cannot be made to Medicaid because that costs people. If you're on food stamps, can't be cut. It can only go up. So I just want to make sure I let y'all know it doesn't have to be this way. We don't keep having to doing this left versus right shit. It's right versus wrong, and what's worse about this, it's wrong, far right, fascism, authoritarian dictatorship, right? The Democrats, for some dumbass reason, instead of just being like, we are the left, they're the center. And what they try to do is they call out the right when they're wrong, right? But then nothing happens. And that's the problem. The problem is that we are trapped in a two-party system where those idiots are squabbling and not accomplishing anything. And we can have socialists tear up this political system and have half, I'm foreseeing half or more of elected officials socialists instead of a Democrat or a Republican. Actually come into the table every single day with policy, with ideas, with things that we need to talk about and we need to decide if we're going to do. And you know what? When you have a program, for example, I'm a Black Panther fan, right? Black Panther's program used to feed kids breakfast in the inner city. Okay, I used to coach high school football. Okay, I used to show up in the morning and feed my kids. I would take my little my little grill out there, and I literally make them fucking eggs. Is the least that I could do. Good to go. So I not only am a fan of him, fan of the Black Panthers, But I've also gone out and actually done this shit and would do it again in a heartbeat. So everybody wonders, like, what would you do if you had a lot of money? Feed a lot of people? House a lot of people? The fuck? Anyway, tomorrow is a planned economic blackout. Meaning, like, yo, a lot of people get paid tomorrow. Try not to pay for shit. Wait a day. Okay? And hey, I want to make sure I say this too. Hey, just because we say don't spend money tomorrow doesn't mean you spend it today or spend it on Saturday. Neither. That defeats the purpose. So the idea with a planned economic blackout is like, we're going to normally do things, and then tomorrow we spend nothing. It causes a blip in the radar. It's just a moment in time for these rich fucks, but it's billions. And then it's coming for them, and they know. March 4th, we march forth. March 7 to 14, no Amazon. What is it? The next week, it's no General Mills. So you can get on Reddit. You can go to R50501 or R Protest Finder USA to find more information about the actions that you could be taking. And then come March 1st, I'm going to be making content. Here's all the social media links for the American Socialist Party. We're going to work on a website. We're going to get a bank account, tax ID, register with the FEC. That rhymed unintentionally. Oh my God, I can keep going infinitely. Anyway, have a good rest of your day.